Today, I'm going to talk about one of the hardest lessons that I've had to learn since making big changes after the age of 40. And I'm going to preface this because I have to go back a little bit in time. You know, when you always ask these questions, like, if you only had 5 days to live, what would you do? And there was a point in my life where if I only had 5 days to live, I would want to just go be by myself, go visit as many places as I could, see as many sunsets as I could, and just be. Because I was so burnt out. I was so sad. I was depressed. I was just completely overwhelmed in my life. And it was my own doing. That it was the choices that I had made. But I realized then that I had to make big changes in my life because I love my family. I love my kids. I love life. And that version of me that if she only had 2 weeks to live, wanted to go be by herself, that made me really sad. And that was one of the biggest lessons that I had to learn is that just because the life that I had built around me looked good on the outside, that didn't mean that it wasn't fulfilling on the inside. So by making changes in my life to be more in alignment with who I am, I think now, so maybe I was 37 when I was thinking that, and now I'm 44. And now, if I only had 2 weeks to live, I would want to just be with the people that I love the most. Because when you live in a life where you don't feel supported and you don't feel like you matter and that you're just there to provide a service, to provide an action. And if you feel that way in your life and you feel that way in your business or your job, just know that there is another way. Because when you feel like your purpose is to fulfill others and you think it's okay that you feel that way, you feel like empty inside and you put all these things in front of it, you justify how you're feeling, that it's okay, that it doesn't really matter how you feel. You look around and you see healthy kids and you think, okay, my life's pretty good. My kids are healthy. I've got food on the table, but you feel empty inside. You don't have to feel that way. And I think that was one of the biggest lessons that I've had to learn and overcome is that my life matters, that I don't have to be self-sacrificing at every moment to feel worthy. That true worthiness comes from the inside, and worthiness comes from doing things that make me really happy and joyful. And the practice of being joyful and the practice of taking that time out to do the things that make me joyful has changed everything. And it's so funny because I had a marketing coach of all people who asked me that question. She's like, what do you do during the day that makes you joyful? And at the time, I was so centered on making money to create this business, to put put food on the table, to matter in my relationships. I thought that in order to be seen to matter in my relationships, I had to make X amount of money and that I had to be successful. And it again, it was so empty. So having this marketing coach who I had hired to make me more successful in my business asked me, what brings you joy? And I don't even know what I rambled off, but maybe I rambled off something about hiking or, painting or whatever. And she's like, "Are you doing those things?" And no, I'm not doing those things. I'm trying to create a business. I'm trying to be successful. Successful people work really, really hard. And she was like, no, no, they don't. Successful people love the life that they have, and they allow for opportunities that align with that energy to come to them. And I was like, oh, holy crap. And so that day, I stopped worrying about creating content or whatever I was working on. I stopped worrying about if the phone was going to ring for the clients. And I stopped thinking about, okay, do I have stuff ready for dinner for the family and all these things? And I simply just took a walk in the sunshine. And I started to daydream about a life that felt this good, a life that could feel like you're walking in sunshine every day. And it's not like it happened overnight, but once I had that feeling inside of me, I knew I wanted more of that feeling. And I knew that what I had in my life and this feeling that I wanted, that it was going to be a journey to get there, to have time in my life where I felt joyful. But because joy feels so good, because feeling sunshine on your face feels so good, there was a part of me that knew I was worthy of that life. And I think just because I was so on the other end of it, that I was willing to do whatever it took to get here. And that has been the biggest lesson for me, is that I matter, I am worthy, and I'm the only one responsible for that feeling. I cannot look to my partner. I cannot look to my clients. I cannot look to my friends to feel worthy anymore. Because when you're looking for other people, it's almost, when you're looking for worthiness in other people, it's almost like you're doing a dance or you're a puppet and you're just, look at me, aren't I? Can't you, can you see me? And it's exhausting to live like that. Now, is it different because I found joy inside of me and I feel more centered and creative? My life is different. I do not have the big network of friends that I used to. I don't spend time on the phone talking to my friends anymore because what matters to me is my own mental health and my own guidance system and honoring who I am. So in the mornings, I journal and I go for walks and I make sure that during the day I am incorporating these joyful things that make me feel worthy. And then, this is the cool part if you're still watching. What happens when you start doing these things for yourself to find joy, to feel happiness, is that you actually are going to attract the better clients. You're going to attract the better partner. You're going to attract the better everything. It's magic. Manifesting is magic, but you have to take those first steps towards finding your own joy and your own abundance within you. And you have to stop blaming others for not having the life that you desire. It's all up to you. I hope this helps somebody out there. Please like, subscribe, and follow along on YouTube. I appreciate you all so much. Thank you.